Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network.
Today I've been invited as a guest on SinoNaimo News. It's a Mandarin English radio program on CHLY, and we're taking you along for the ride. Nanaimo's oldest artisan cooperative, back in time to paper, pens, and typewriters, and physical literacy, a spot at the top. That and more in the next 30 minutes. You are watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. We've moved inside the studio here at CHLY Radio. This is Swan and Lloyd MacIlquahm. They've been hosting SinoNaimo News for the past 2 years. They're a fantastic couple. We're going to learn some Mandarin today as I appear as a guest on their show. We're having a lot of fun. We're going to start things off, though, with a cooperative artist studio here in Nanaimo that has been operating for more than 40 years. Rianne LaPlante tells us what it means to the artists to have been a part of it. I've been walking past the Artisan Studio for years, and I think I only stepped inside about twice. You're watching Go Island on Shaw TV Channel 4. This is Lloyd MacIlquahm. He's been co-producing a show called
SinoNaimo News.
SinoNaimo News. And is that actually a hybrid of English and Chinese?
Well, that's right. Sino refers to Chinese, right? And Naimo is what all the Chinese call Nanaimo, because Nanaimo has too many syllables in it, so they just chop it off to Naimo.
Okay.
And so it's Sino, Chinese, Nanaimo, right? Local, and news is local events. So we cover, local events that occur in Nanaimo. And Swan does Mandarin, I do English, and the idea is that, people from China can listen to it and find out about Western, and then people, non-Chinese can listen to it and find out about, Chinese culture. But also, whatever I say, Swan translates it into Mandarin. Mm-hmm. And so they get the English and the Mandarin, and helps, people who are learning English helps them to learn English, and people who want to learn Mandarin helps them to learn Mandarin.
And this goes every Friday at noon.
11 o'clock.
11 a.m.
We end at noon.
We end at noon. Okay. And you've been doing it for about 2 years. Has it evolved and changed?
I think we improve. I think we get better, and the delivery is better. And also we develop new segments like the Swan, the Mandarin school teacher segment.
Okay, so that means that I'm going to be getting a bit of a lesson in Mandarin later, I think.
You
okay.
betcha.
Oh no.
And unfortunately, she's never given me a lesson. And
after all this time.
After all this time, I don't know. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, I guess.
And then she can keep a few secrets to herself, speaking with the in-laws in Chinese,
right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So she has this little safety net where she can, talk to her friends and all that kind of stuff, and I have no idea what she's saying.
And we're going to see her in action later on this edition of Go Island. I think a lot of the heavy lifting as far as the talking falls on Swan with her translating, and from what I know of her, she's very good.
No, I think she's excellent, and it's right. I mean, she has a big burden because she has her own English part, because we interact, back and forth, the gay repartee aspect of the show. Yeah. And then she translates everything into Mandarin, and so I write a script beforehand, and we go over it, and so she can prepare, the script. But on the other hand, not everything's scripted. But we phone people from all over the place, and people in China and people in different countries, and we do interviews, and that's strictly on the go.
Excellent.
And we interviewed one guy in China. He was on a tour, and the bus was leaving as we were interviewing him, and he kept saying, I gotta go, right? And they're saying, no. And I tried to get him to put the bus driver on so I could talk to the bus driver and do an interview with the bus driver as well, right?
Yeah.
And this is in the middle of China on a cell phone.
Sounds crazy. Sounds like a lot of what actually happens in a different translation here on Go. We're going to move into the studio. We've already shown you a little bit about what happens during the live airing of SinoNaimo News through what we call B-roll in the biz, but we're throwing things down to Victoria now. Sucheta Singh's looks into the lost art of actually using a typewriter and putting pen to paper. still to come today on Go: reading, writing, arithmetic, and physical literacy. That and back to basics with a campfire repertoire. That's still to come today on Go.
Did you know that SOS in Parksville has over 30 programs for people ranging from infants all the way up to seniors? We have after-school programs, we have Meals on Wheels, we have Mums and Tots programs, so come check us out.
Well, I think it's because of the blue moon, which is the 13th month of the year.
我刚才呢就觉得很奇怪，为什么说西方人呢他会认为星期五13号呢是非常一个不幸的一个数字哈，也是不幸的。
We'll continue with our interview as guests today on SinoNaimo News here on CHLY Radio 101.7 FM. That's later on this edition of Go Island. We all know that math and reading and writing is all a foundation when it comes to a good education, but did you know that physical activity and physical literacy is just as important? Here's Justin Martin. A very funky space here at CHLY Radio underneath the China Steps in downtown Nanaimo. Bob Simpson is the interim station manager here at CHLY. Now, the SinoNaimo News is only one example of how many programs?
We have over 60 programs on the air, which cover a variety of different genres in musical tastes. Everything from hip-hop to 50s and 60s to elevator music. So quite a variety in genres. And also our programming also covers off a lot of spoken word programs relating to health issues, relating to a variety of different programs like Democracy Now!, a lot of different spoken word shows.
And do people tend to listen over the airwaves or tune in more online, do you think?
Well, actually, in our immediate area, there's a huge following on our frequency of 101.7. And but that being said, in this day and age of technology, we find that with all our programmers podcasting their shows, that we have representation right around the world.
Nice.
Case in point is the Sunday night Elevator Club program, which had over 17,000 hits to the podcast site over a 6-month period of time, and all around the world.
I've actually considered doing a radio show here in the past, but I just don't have enough time in my schedule. But leading me to the question, if there's people in the community who want to get involved, how is the content and ideas for programs generated, and how can they go about that?
What we ask any potential candidate for a programming show to submit a proposal, what their idea is, what their genre of music is, what their spoken word, just a sampling of what their thoughts are, so that we can understand what they want to be able to program in word and in music. Mm-hmm. We then take the program proposal to a programming committee, and we analyze and we look for an applicable time slot that would be good for the show. And once the program is approved, we ask the programmers to come in, and we sit down with them, we train them, and we give them guidance to go on the air and work with them, and
excellent.
That's how they go.
Do you need more programs, or is your schedule pretty full right now?
Our schedule is full, but that being said, we do have a few time slots. In community radio, there's always a bit of an attrition. So some of the programs that are on now may end in a few months, and we're always looking for new concepts, new ideas.
Excellent. Thanks, Bob.
Pleasure.
We're going to be back with more from CHLY Radio, in particular SinoNaimo News, where I think I'm going to be learning some Mandarin at some point. We'll take a short break.
How about you tell me, what do you like to learn most?
Okay, why don't we learn you're watching?
You're watching. 你正在看. Can you try? 你 is you.
你
is you.
You're.
Is watching is a present tense, right?
Okay.
Describe we are doing now.
Right.
In Chinese, we don't have tense, so we use verb to describe the tense.
Okay.
That's why we use much more word than English. So you English say you are watching, and we say 你正在看.
你正在看.
That's right. So 看 is a see. Anything with eyes, 看 is see. 正在 means describe is doing something.
Okay,
That's a
which
tense.
is what you're doing right now,
Yes, it's
watching
正在.
Go Island. I'm
正
not
在. Ah, so you can
on
say
Shaw TV Channel 4. I'm gonna throw to a story,
That's
and then
good.
we'll continue with the lesson on the radio after Swan translates. So you're now a part of our show here that we're watching as well. We're gonna throw things over to Kelly Robinson for another look at a story featuring Paul Gogo. He is the keyboardist with Trooper. He loves music through and through, and he holds campfire guitar playing singing circles twice a week. Here's Kelly. Just something to add on to that story. Paul Gogo had his banjo. He's not even saying stolen. His banjo is missing. He's such a sweetheart. It's a banjo that his father, Ken Gogo, used to play at the Departure Bay Polar Bear Swim every year until he died 10 years ago. Paul has continued that tradition. His banjo is gone. But as of Friday night, Paul has his banjo back. It was returned by an elderly woman. They met, they spoke, and they played Oh Susanna together on the street. Paul says that from the moment the instrument went missing, he wanted it to be a journey of peace and understanding, one of fellowship, not anger. Thank you, Paul, for your gentle grace, and we're glad that your banjo is back where it belongs. That brings us to the end of this edition of Go Island. A huge thank you to Swan and Lloyd. That was a lot of fun. They do a fabulous job on their radio program here at CHLY SinoNaimo News. And we're signing off for now. Thanks for watching.
Go Island is brought to you by German Auto Import Network. Clothing supplied by Catwalk Fashions. Kait's Hair and Aesthetics provided by Matteo Salon.